Close your eyes for a moment and imagine sitting at the mouth of a cave. The fire has burned low, the hunt is over, the food is stored. There is nothing left to do, and the night stretches out long and empty in front of you. No screen to reach for, no voice to fill the silence, just the crackle of dying embers, the wind moving through the trees, and the slow, restless hum of your own mind. This is boredom. And to the ancient human sitting in that cave, it was not a problem to be solved. It was one of the most important feelings they had. Today, you treat boredom like an enemy. The second it appears, you reach for your phone, you open another tab, you scroll until the emptiness goes away. But that quiet, itchy discomfort you feel when there is nothing to do was once a quiet engine that pushed your ancestors to survive, to create, and to dream. And somewhere along the way, you forgot what it was for. By the end of this, you'll understand why your brain still craves boredom, even though you spend every waking hour escaping it. And you'll see why the most uncomfortable moments of stillness might be the very thing your mind is starving for. But first, let's go back. Picture the world your ancestors actually lived in. For most of human history, survival was not a constant emergency. It came in waves. There were sharp bursts of danger and effort, the hunt, the storm, the fight, the long walk to new water. And then there were the gaps, long, slow stretches where nothing urgent was happening at all. You wait for the animals to migrate. You wait for the fruit to ripen. You wait out the rain under a rock ledge, watching the gray sky for hours. Life had a rhythm of intensity and emptiness, and the emptiness was vast. In those gaps, there was no entertainment waiting to fill the silence. There was just the world and your own restless mind inside it. And here is the strange and beautiful thing. That restlessness had a purpose. When there was nothing pressing to react to, the ancient mind didn't switch off. It started to wander. It turned inward and began to chew on problems. How could that broken spear be made stronger? Where might the herd move next season? What was that story the old one told, and what did it really mean? Boredom was the pressure that pushed early humans toward invention. A bored mind sharpens a better tool. A bored mind notices a pattern in the stars. A bored mind, sitting in the dark with nothing to distract it, starts to imagine. So, let's talk about what this did to the brain. Your brain has a kind of quiet background mode. When you are not focused on anything in particular, when you are just staring out a window or walking with no destination, parts of your mind become more active, not less. Researchers sometimes call this the default mode, and you can think of it as the brain's wandering state. This is when you reflect on yourself, when you replay the past and rehearse the future, when you connect distant ideas and make sense of who you are. It is where a lot of creativity and self-understanding quietly happens. And here is the key. That wandering state needs an opening to switch on. It needs a gap. It needs boredom. For ancient humans, those gaps came naturally. The empty hours by the fire, the long watch over the valley, the slow work of grinding grain or shaping stone. Their minds had endless room to drift, to process, to dream. Boredom wasn't a bug in the system. It was the doorway to the deepest part of the human mind. The discomfort you feel in stillness, that itch to do something, was the gentle nudge that said, now is the time to think, to plan, to imagine something new. It was uncomfortable on purpose, because a little discomfort makes you move, makes you create, makes you reach for more than what is in front of you. Now come back to today. Something has changed. And it has changed faster than your brain could ever keep up with. The gaps are gone. Every single empty moment now has something waiting to fill it. The second you feel that ancient itch of boredom, there is a glowing rectangle in your pocket, offering you an endless river of things to watch, read, and react to. You never have to sit in the silence anymore. You never have to wait. And so you don't. Watch yourself for one day and you'll see it. You wake up, and before your feet touch the floor, you're scrolling. You stand in a line for 30 seconds, and out comes the phone. You finish a task, and instead of letting your mind breathe, you immediately reach for the next hit of input. The car is at a red light. The kettle is boiling. The advert comes on. And in every one of those tiny gaps, you fill the silence. Your brain is reacting as if every empty moment is a threat to be solved, even though that emptiness is exactly what it once used to think and heal. And the cost of this is quiet, but it's real. You feel scattered. You can't sit with your own thoughts. You feel a strange exhaustion that sleep doesn't fix, because your mind never gets that wandering processing time it was built to take. Notice what happens on the rare night you can't sleep and there's no phone in reach. Suddenly your mind floods. Old memories, half-finished worries, ideas, regrets, plans. People often think something is wrong with them in those moments, but that's just your ancient default mode finally getting its turn, doing all the processing you've been blocking out all day, all at once, in the dark. Or notice the discomfort the moment you're left truly alone with nothing. No music, no screen, no task. That edge of panic, that need to grab something to do. Your brain is treating stillness like danger, even though stillness is where it was designed to do its best work. We've trained ourselves to fear the very state that made us human. So what do you do with all this? You don't need to throw away your devices or move back into a cave. The answer is gentler than that. You simply need to give the gaps back to your mind, on purpose. Start small. Let yourself be bored for a few minutes a day without reaching for anything. Stand in that line and just look around. Wash the dishes without a podcast playing. Walk somewhere with no headphones and let your thoughts go wherever they want. It will feel uncomfortable at first. That itch will come. But instead of fighting it, recognize it for what it is. That's not a sign something is wrong. That's the ancient doorway opening. That's your mind getting ready to wander, to connect, to create. You might notice that your best ideas come in the shower, or on a long drive, or while you're falling asleep. That's not a coincidence. Those are the few gaps modern life hasn't fully sealed up. Imagine what your mind could do if you gave it more of them. Treat boredom not as empty time to be killed, but as fertile time to be protected. The blank page is where the writing begins. The silence is where the thinking starts. So the next time that restless, empty feeling creeps in and your hand starts to drift toward your pocket, pause for a moment. Remember the human at the mouth of the cave, sitting in the dark with nothing to do, letting the fire die down. That emptiness wasn't a void to be feared. It was the space where they imagined the tool, the story, the future. It was where they became more than survivors. That same space still lives inside you. Your boredom is not a flaw, and it's not a weakness. It is an ancient invitation, whispering to you across thousands of years, asking you to stop, to be still, and to finally listen to the quiet, wandering voice that built everything we are. There are other old programs running inside you too. The reason crowds make you anxious, the reason rejection stings like a wound, the reason the night makes everything feel heavier than it did in the light. But those are journeys for another time. For now, just let yourself be bored. Your ancient mind has been waiting a very long time for the silence to return.